I think the best way to describe this current school system is in a very simple word. That word is outdated.
From a literal standpoint, school is someplace where students are required to get an education as so they could move on to college and get a job and be able to sustain themselves. In an actual sense, or like a more metaphorical sense, I would say school is kind of a place where we're conditioned into certain social behaviors as well as academically how we're supposed to view the world.
School is the place where people come here to die.
School is a structure, a societal structure built by society for the younger generation in order to stabilize and build them up in what they think is right.
School is, the intentions behind it are good. I'm not saying that CCSD in Nevada is necessarily good, but I can tell that like teachers are not the main perpetrators of the harmfulness of education.
We just learn how to come to school, learn math, English, reading, science, go home, come back to school, repeat over and over into the system, but we don't know how to live life beyond that, and we don't experience life after that.
The system is very flawed. Does it not teach us how to finances or how to cook, so on and so forth? Yeah, sure, but that's just the school we go to here. Right? If we're talking like the district as overall, there are many schools that offer classes like that, but it's not enforced, which I think is where the problem is they're teaching us, instead of teaching us basic life skills and higher thinking, they're just teaching us higher thinking, which isn't always the best, because then you got a bunch of idealists running around and nothing's getting done because they don't know how to do the basics.
I feel like the 12 years of schooling that I've had, I feel like some of it has been worthwhile. I don't know. A lot of it, I feel like it's particularly hard to learn, especially in middle school in that environment. A lot of what I learned didn't really stick.
I don't think the time that we spend here and the education that we receive is a fair ratio.
I feel like I'm not working towards the occupation that I want to achieve or want to pursue in the future, because I'm having to learn like pre-calculus and all these things so I can get into a good college to study my targeted occupation.
School makes me feel stressed a lot of the time. I understand that it's there to help me grow and become more successful, but at the same time I feel like a lot of it kind of makes me feel unnecessarily worried for my future.
School makes me feel a mixture of many, many things. Dread, because I have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning in order to get to school on time. And dread because I have so much work to do on a nightly basis and not enough time to do it, because I am a 17-year-old boy and I do want to do things that I enjoy and not homework. But at the same time, it makes me also feel somewhat accomplished when I do get those papers done. I do get good grades. It makes me feel accomplished, and that's, I feel like, a translation into life, in the sense of when you do things that you need to get done, you feel accomplished. And school trains you for that in that way. But other than that, I feel it also somewhat prepares you for, only gives you a fraction of what life will actually be like that's hard. But it shouldn't be just a fraction. It should be the whole slice of the whole piece of the cake, you know?
I think it's made me, on a personal level, it's made me less emotionally, what's the word I'm looking at? It's made me less emotionally out there, I'd say.
For the past 12 years, it has drained our students. For years, I obsessed over my grades. I studied all night. I pulled all-nighters, and I would cry if I got a B over my grades. And now, as an 11th grader, I I'm just trying to pass. I'm just trying to get my grade. I'm just trying to graduate and get my diploma and just get to a job and to survive.
I think I definitely started out a lot more idealistic, you know. I used to have, and not to say that I don't still, but I used to have a lot grander hopes and dreams. Now, I more or less just want the bare minimum. I used to, I say like, oh, I could be the president. Now it's like, oh, I could probably clean toilets.
At LVA, I feel like a lot of the time things are very much underfunded. When it, like, equipment-wise, most of everything that we have is broken. And Delaney isn't really given a lot to work with, but he does phenomenally with what he does work with. Even the cameras that we use aren't meant for film, they're meant for photography.
Overall, school is strayed away from its intentional position, like its intentional reason to be here, because like 100 years ago it was there to teach us how to be obedient and work in like factories and stuff. But nowadays, with technology evolving and the types of jobs that are popping up everywhere, we can't stay in the same like frame of mind when we compare education from the past and now. It has to evolve as we evolve as well. I don't know. I do think it's important to have an emphasis on reading skills as well. Just to have your basics, your math, your science, your English. I think that really helps a person to become well-rounded. But I also feel that we shouldn't emphasize it like it's a life or death situation. I feel that once you get to be a certain age, you can choose like a certain path maybe for school to get to where you want to be when you grow up. I also feel like schools need better curriculum, ones that's not as rigorous, or not that, but not as demanding of a student to where they feel so much pressure on their shoulders to achieve that. And facilities could always be better. Funding for schools, I mean, we live in Las Vegas. I feel like with the casinos and stuff that there should be more money being given to schools, because that's how you make a well-rounded society. I mean, you give them the proper tools they need to achieve in life.